Good morning, everyone. We'll call this meeting to order. This is the Operations Committee for the Village of Point Everett for March the 14th. Any declarations of pecuniary interest, Marianne?
Unknown.
Okay, we have no delegations registered. We do have the circulation of the prior minutes. Any comments on those? I know they've been pre-approved, but I did want to point out one change, if we could. I know they've been already approved. And that is that Steve and Mike were at that meeting. And they're not in attendance.
Okay.
So unless we put it in, you don't get paid for that day, so we should.
Like a regular day?
So if we can stand down and make sure they're in this one, that would be great. Ongoing tasks. Very good.
Okay, so the mesh presentation, we'll reschedule. It was going to be at the last council meeting, but just with the timing, we changed that. Arena roof work is ongoing. Same with the hanging baskets, signage on washrooms. Is that, you looked at that at all?
Is that for the dates?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I asked to get actual dates before
Okay.
we don't want to make them until I get some specific dates, right? If you want to put November to May, we can do that, but
You just want confirmation on the verbiage.
yeah, just on the dates, right?
Yeah.
Like I know in the past we've had specific dates, and then I know there's been times where it's been requested to open them early.
Yeah,
So I think if we're gonna put it on, like if we put November to May, close for November to May, I'm fine with that. I just don't want to go and have the sign change and then get told we should have been open.
Yeah. And we're also looking at possibly doing something different.
yeah. So it's going to be my recommendation that we put this on hold until we deal with the item later in the agenda. So
Looking at if we extend the season to winterize the washrooms, we're gonna put those signs on the door. So this
Yeah,
hold the signs
okay,
until the
that's-
other
That's
decisions
gonna
made.
be a very costly
Yeah,
experience, just so you know.
or
Because now
laws,
you're cleaning them year round,
Yeah.
you're eating them.
Yeah. or if laws winterizes theirs, our sign might say closest
But
washroom
I
is.
said that's not gonna
Yeah.
happen.
But I mean, if
It's
there's
not
another
gonna
washroom open,
It's
then-
not gonna happen this
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
I've
if
already
we're gonna
talked to them.
winterize one, we should have done it when we built the splash pad
Yeah.
ones and done
Yeah.
it when we built the building.
Yeah. So should have.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, right?
You don't always think long term.
Ordering salt, that's,
Yeah, we ordered salt, but when you guys requested it, we had to order again since then, because obviously we've had a few storms, but hopefully we won't.
We
have
were
to.
ordering because the prices gone up.
Yeah, so I did order that time when you asked, but
Yeah.
then we only can take so much, right?
Yeah.
So,
Thank you.
the concrete floor over at the arena, actually, Frank's coming to meet me sometime tomorrow, so I'll let you know. He's gonna call me in the morning and say what time, so.
Okay.
We'll go over there to look at that.
Is that awesome?
And then the concrete grinder. Have you tried that out yet?
no, well, we haven't had the opportunity, right? The weather hasn't been, we need the decent weather to try that out. And I did a little research on it, and you're supposed to have a HEPA vac system attached to it because of the potential for silica release, so there's a little more to it than just renting the grinder.
Right.
I'll have to see if I can rent a vac machine that goes with it, that goes on the trailer. So it's a little more involved than initially, but when I did a little research on it, as a municipality, we're supposed to have a containment system for it because of the release of silica. Because it's a designated substance.
Jack, the cost of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably why, like, I know Sarnia, the guy that we were supposed to have do it, he actually does he actually patrols their sidewalks. Marks which ones he's doing and then goes and does it. So he does their whole MMS for them completely. And he does, a lot of he does his water grinding. So he actually uses a grinder with a water attachment. He cuts them first. And then when he grinds them off after, he's still got water. And then he actually does it out of what they call, looks like a Bobcat, but it looks like a hybrid.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can put the stuff in the back, right? So that machine alone is probably $200,000.
Yeah.
So Laws hired that same, it's probably the same gentleman that got the
Yeah.
kind of contact through Sarnia and had him do their waterfront part.
And I can do the same. See, what happened last year is normally what we do is we piggyback on Sarnia's time. Ingram, for some reason, had some information that he thought he could call this guy whenever and he would come. Well, this guy's all over Ontario. When I spoke to the Sarnia guys about it, I went and asked them, about, because they have one of those grinders. And I just said, like, what do you guys think? And they don't like the grinder, just, but they've got an older version of it. And they said that that guy, normally he's in our area for, say, 3 weeks. You have to get him back. But when Imran called him to say, hey, we got these spots, dude, he was in Ottawa.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So he was long, and he wasn't coming back that long. So I think if we use him, I think looking at the grinders, it's a good option for us for small ones. But I've got to look into what it's not gonna be just $5,000 for the grinders. We're gonna have to come up with some kind of vacuum system as well.
And then as opposed to whatever he charges to do it.
Yeah, like he's still gonna have to do those big ones,
Oh,
for it,
okay,
you know, like the
okay.
ones that I cold
Yeah,
patched.
yeah,
Those, he's gonna have to do those. That grinder that we're getting is for the,
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
and the MMS is, again, I'm sure Imran explained this to you, that is a more of a, it's not a legal number, like we can, you guys as council can decide that 2 centimeters, like 2 centimeters is pretty minimal left, right?
Yeah.
You can decide that, okay, we're gonna go with 1.5 inches, or
Yeah.
if you wanna do it metrically, but, so we can decide that ourselves on where we decide that it becomes a trip hazard.
so it's not prescribed,
It is in the MMS, but the
Okay.
MMS is a guide.
I got it, okay,
Okay, so you always have the option of setting up your own. So if you look at like some people, certain standards according to the MMS, and then some people set their own. Because some of it's not attainable.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
A 2 centimeter lift here, we're gonna be doing 300 sidewalk lifts, at least.
Yeah.
Like you go walk, like when we went looking for the one on Louisa, I walked the stretch of Louisa from Michigan to, I think it's Hauser, and I was like, okay, that one could probably done, that one, you know what I mean? Like, it was never ending.
Yeah.
So it's one of those times where like,
Yeah.
you know, you have to decide, if we bring that guy in, maybe we need to have a good budget, try and get them all done as best we can.
Yeah.
And then once we're caught up, I don't think we'll be, that's where we would be able to maintain them beyond that. And then we also have to look into cutting some of the boulevard trees down that are
I was
causing
gonna say,
problems.
the one on Louisa is bad
Yeah,
towards Michigan, and it's a tree,
yeah.
it's tree roots, right?
And as long as it's a boulevard tree, then we can deal with it, but if it's a tree on private property, it's something that's deal with. Are you talking about the one right at the corner,
Right towards the corner.
where they had that sidewalk, where they redid the porch, that house?
Yes,
Yeah, that tree's on their
oh,
property.
it's on their property, oh, because it's like coming up. through
But
the
there's a couple
sidewalk.
by the school that are bad there
Okay.
on Charles Street. Like if you've noticed those, there's 2 there. And there are those Norway maples that are notorious for root jacket.
Yeah.
So some we need to think about is maybe some of those trees might just have to go to.
And be replaced.
Okay.
Replaced with a shrub.
The tree that doesn't have roots.
And then also the redbud trees there, I have a document to share with both of you that I got from a resident, so it may help us through this, so I'll send it to you. And then the other one was, so the hanging baskets, I know last month. Like, can you not assign this to somebody to just sort of make it goals? Because all
Yeah.
I'm looking at is saying, yes, we can do it.
We've
or no, we
talked about it
can't.
a little bit. The concern we have is where to put the, like a plaque
Yeah.
or plate, whatever you want to call it. That's what, I mean,
Is
that's what we've talked about.
it gonna be noticeable enough to be worth it, to be honest?
To the person,
Yeah, like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not something that.
it's
people
not
are-
much different than the bench plaque, which is that big, right? So I envision it being like that big, just above height, right? Just
Mhm.
on the pole saying, just, in memory of so-and-so, right? So
But it'd be changed year to year then?
you would hope somebody would sign a 5-year deal is what I think would be the right way to do it, do a
Well,
5-year deal.
Your bench is lifetime.
Yeah,
Yeah, but these are.
Oh, the baskets come down every year.
Yeah,
I don't,
Yeah, the baskets.
these are gonna be
Yeah.
painted onto the poles.
so I think what I would love to see us do is your first year is $200, renewed it's $100 a year after that, right? So because you're not buying a new plaque.
Right.
And then if somebody says, I don't want to do this anymore, then whoever takes it over pays 200, it's a new plaque, cost of the plaques.
And then if say the plaque's damage, it's on us to replace.
I would
it.
think so, yeah. We can buy some bubble wrap.
We do replace the plaques on the bench.
Yeah, but they're not very often, they're not
No.
as susceptible
No, but
to hoodlums, shall we
we
say?
don't leave it up to the
And how
family.
many baskets do we put downtown?
But 28, but 14 poles,
Right,
so 2
Yeah.
on either side. So that,
So
you're not gonna do 28, you're gonna do 14, right? Because you're only gonna dedicate one pole per person.
I would think so,
You're not
although
gonna have one on either side of the pole.
you
I
could,
guess you
easily-
could stack them.
yeah, yeah, or put one on each side. Like they make those rings, you know, with the little bolts things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give me- But I just had Riverside Graphics do a sign down at the marina for the Coast Guard. It's on a pole and they just put those, it's like a O-ring, but it's got the screw holes in it. And they just boom, boom, and it was done. So it's like, good. So they might be able to help you with some options on how to mount. So
Well, we have mounting capabilities.
Yeah,
We mount lots of stuff.
Oh,
on
on sides,
poles. It's a band that goes around with a bracket that a nut and a
Yeah,
bolt can go
yeah,
through.
yeah,
We have some of that at
Yeah,
the shop.
yeah.
I don't know if we'd have enough to do all the poles. We might have to order more of that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want to weigh that into the cost of the plaque, because
Yeah.
you're just doing it more we're not doing it to raise money, obviously.
Well, we raise money, but also cover the cost of we can cover the cost of the baskets every year, then that's one less expense
Yeah.
to the taxpayers, right? And the benches are full, so this is another opportunity for somebody to remember something, right? Especially
Yeah.
something like flowers. or whatever.
I think like the attaching the signage or putting a plaque up appropriately is the kind of the hook up for us. So
Yeah, I can, like, I could take a picture and show you guys what we use now. So I tell you what, you know where a good spot to go look is go to the splash pad.
Yeah.
We've got that sign of the rules that's on there, and that would be the exact same system we use. So if you're by the splash pad right at Livingston parking lot.
Yeah.
If you go up where the First Nations garden that we have there, there's a rule sign.
And it's mounted on the light stand.
Right on the
Yeah.
lake stand.
Okay.
And the exact same system we will use.
Just be a smaller,
So now, are
Yeah.
you thinking, sir, are you thinking of a plaque that's going to kind of contour to the pole or just going to stick out from the pole?
I think stick out.
Yeah, it'll be a lot like that sign.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I think we should go with a piece of paper size.
Yep, yeah,
right,
that would
If
work.
you want somebody to read it.
Yeah,
So what it'll do is there'll be a band with this little thing that will take a nut.
Yep.
And there'll be one nut here,
Yep.
one nut here, stainless steel, and they'll just sit against the pole.
and
And
then
then it'll be a crowd on the other side, but nobody wants that close to the poles. It's gonna be an issue.
okay, thank you. And then that's it for there. So. Because then if we can make some progress, we might be able to throw it in the budget.
Yeah,
Right? It's doable. Arena health and safety, Mayor Hand, any comments? I didn't see anything there.
No, just another good report.
Yes, thank you.
Getting ready for the ice show.
And then public works, very much the same. I didn't see. Okay, looks good. So we'll just file and receive those. And then we'll move on to Eric Lucas and the Arena monthly report. Eric, take it away.
All right, good morning, everyone. This is the monthly report for February. Ladies Auxiliary from the Royal Canadian Legion will tour the Arena Community Hall February 1st. They're looking to host a major convention in May 2024. They're still in the early stages of the plan. Vaulting doors in on February 2nd. They'll get a broken door closer on dressing room number 7 and fraying cables on Olympia room garage door. Parts are currently on back order. On February 5th, we had an issue with the Olympia blade getting stuck in one position. We reached out to Jeff Rowan of Canadian Lake Services to get some advice. He suggested lubricating the blade control screw and cycling up and down. This will be looked at further when the Olympia goes out for its biennial service. February 16th, we had a prolonged weather-related power outage. During the power outage, the emergency generator failed to engage because of the low oil pressure fault. After some troubleshooting, the fault was cleared and the generator fired up. The next day, Tormont Power Systems was contacted to discuss the issue. It was determined the cause was from the way the generator was shut down on Christmas Day when the power was disconnected from the arena and community hall because of a broken water line that had sprayed water on the electrical panels of the community hall. Generator was tested once again on Monday, February 27th with no issues. The technician from Tormont said we should have no further issues. Water power distribution was in on February 21st to do a load test in the compressor room. We have welcomed a co-op student from Northern Collegiate Institute Vocational School to learn about what it's like to work at a recreation facility and to assist with daily tasks at the arena. Nate Shortreed will be working alongside the arena employees Monday to Friday for 2.5 hours daily till the end of March. Welcome, Nate. Ernie Meyer, Cross has currently booked some weekday 4 times at the arena along with 2 weekends to host league zone days. They're still awaiting final registration number. Between February 24th and February 26th, the Point Edward Skating Club hosted the Skate Ontario 1-4 skating competition at Point Edward Memorial Arena. The event saw nearly 300 skaters compete over the 3 days. In addition to the competitors, it was estimated by the skating club that over 900 people came through the doors between coaches, officials, parents, and spectators. Once again, another very successful event hosted by the Point Edward Skating Club. Congratulations to all the winners and everyone involved. The skating club has also indicated that they will be hosting the event once again next year between February 23rd and 25th, with hopes of growing the event further. With management, 3 full-time employees, 1 seasonal employee, and 1 co-op student that started on February 17th. For the training, ergonomic training assessment on February 9th. Facility activities, we were for prime time 91% booked, non-prime time 76% booked. Factors that may be affecting the totals, cancellations because of Super Bowl, 2 weather events, leagues entering playoffs, teams getting eliminated, and Pima hockey having teams away at tournaments. Booking percentages were slightly lower than previous month, but higher than previous year for the same month. Interior, general maintenance, sanitizing, cleaning continue. Flooring issue will be looked at when temperatures get more favorable in the arena. Community hall, the Point Edward Office Club continues to manage the community hall. Public health continues to utilize the office hall for vaccine inclusion. Session stand, Red and Coke continue to operate snack bar. At the Class K fire extinguisher was returned on February 15th from being serviced. Inspections, monthly fire extinguisher, AED inspections completed. Shoot season for monthly testing of condensed water and calibration of chemical regulator. Work and pest control into monthly inspection, no issues reported. Levitt safety in on February 22nd for semi-annual inspection, testing and calibration of ammonia detector in a compressor room. Monthly generator test completed on February 27th. A small coolant leak was found on the radiator coolant reservoir. Part has been ordered and will be installed at semi-annual inspection by 12 hours. Exterior, we had a couple significant weather events during the month of February. Shout out to the guys at Public Works for their timely response and keeping the parking lot plowed and salted. In venue advertising, April from Starlight Casino in on February 3rd to look at arena north wall in regard to advertising. She was noted in the maintenance logbook that she would be in contact with myself or Jim Burke. Vehicles and equipment, the humidifier filters have been replaced. Olympia blade changes, weekly maintenance completed on February 7th and 20th. Olympia will be scheduled to head to Research Corporation in the summer for its biennial service and maintenance. In the near future, we will also have the remaining blades sharpened at that time, along with a few minor issues looked at. Customer satisfaction, lots of positive compliments and feedback on the cleanliness and overall appearance of the arena during the Skate Ontario skating competition. We also received thank you cards from Point Edward Skating Club for our assistance before, during, and after the event. Health and safety, monthly SOP reviews as assigned by Health and Safety Coordinator completed. Security, nothing to report this month. Capital budget. Still awaiting a quote for the hot water system upgrade plan for 2023. That has been received since this report. All 2023 capital item quotes have been submitted for review. 2023 capital and operating budget reviews continue during the month of February. Closing comments. February was another active month at the arena, at the rink. The Point Edward Minor Athletic Association ended their regular season play. It started the first round of playoffs. Point Edward Skating Club hosted the Skate Ontario 1-4 skating competition, along with running their regular program. Many of our men's leagues have also started their playoffs, with some concluding in mid-March. On the maintenance side, we had a few service calls for repairs and still have a few outstanding issues that we hope to have cleared up in the near future. Looking ahead to March, our final month of the winter season, we anticipate it to be busy to the very end. Most men's leagues will conclude their playoffs near mid-March, while the Point Edward Minor Athletic Association will conclude their playoffs in the final week of March. Preparations have already begun for the setting up of the Point Edward Skating Club's Carnival. Setup day will be March 31st, with the actual shows occurring on April 1st and 2nd. Summer scheduling will also continue with the hopes of securing some additional user groups and events. One other mention is that this Sunday is the Jamboree by the Point Edward Minor Athletic Association. If you have questions or concerns, we're glad to assist.
Time does it start?
First game is at 7:30.
7:30 a.m.
They're
Yeah.
7-year-olds. They're up in there.
Yeah, 7:30 till last game at 4:20 in the afternoon.
Are you the marshal?
No, not that I was aware of, but I was gonna come on it.
Any other questions?
I did have a question. The ladies that came, were
Ladies
considered,
Auxiliary?
yeah, did you hear anything more from them?
No, I know they went to other facilities
Yeah.
too, and I
So-
reached out to the lady and she just said, no, we're just touring right now, getting ideas to see their best fit.
You got the one for the hot water system, so that was good. You got the budget. What did you say? Wait till I see it?
Until you see
see it. It's good
Until
that
you
we
see
got-
it.
It's good that we're at the quote. but-
Yeah. Okay, no, that's great.
I just have a couple. First one's a comment, just one of those things about going to tournaments and going to other arenas, is you see how good our arena is. Just this weekend is an example of just some of the layout, the design, the dressing rooms, the cleanliness, the age of the Zamboni, the way they flood, even the way they treat the ice, right? Like, when you have an expert standing in the stands critiquing the driving, but I mean, it's just, you just see what a better, the care we put into our facility. And it's just evident when you see others, like when you compare it to something, because you get seeing yours, and that's the expectation, right? That's the bar that you set. So that was
Do
good.
they wave at the Zamboni driver?
Pardon me?
Do they wave at the Zamboni driver? We can't leave the arena until we wave at.
Two or
Who's
three-
driving
two or
tonight?
Two or three laps.
The skating event I see is coming back. Jim, do we let Pima know about this now? 'Cause I know they were talking about, okay, because they were talking about the number of blackouts this year, and the more notice we can give them, probably the better, right?
And I know some of the blackouts were because of where Christmas, Boxing Day, and they fell, which affected the minor, because they were not the Sundays.
Right, yeah.
So I think that cycle is better.
Okay, good. And then I know we had some cancellations, but we don't have a cancellation policy, do we? So if I call an hour before my ice time and cancel it, that's just too bad. So sad for us, right?
Yeah, and we're pretty good at that kind of stuff, but we don't get many of them. It's
Yeah.
when the weather's bad, people reach out, like I know the ladies league, a lot of ladies are from out of town,
Right.
so they're not gonna come in if it's snowing.
Yeah.
The church league canceled on a Friday night, because they're all mostly from Wyoming,
Right.
Watford area.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not proposing we do. I just want to make sure that we.
If someone was becoming a frequent flyer.
Right.
Yeah.
He's probably one to
We
do
got
something.
a few that would be not
Yeah.
acceptable.
Oh, because.
Yeah.
That and not paying.
Yeah.
That would be another one.
And then when the Olympia goes in the summer, are you going to ask them to try and give us a firmer number for trading if they can,
Sure.
since they're going to have it? See if they could give us something.
I could do that.
Yeah, just so then we have a better number for
Sure.
budget, right? So it'll be something firm. Okay, that's all I have. It's just it's the rush.
So I can understand.
Okay, so we'll receive and file your report, and thank you for that.
Oh, I know the other comment, sorry. It's, the casino, they submitted their draft, but you haven't heard back from them?
I think she reached out to you, right?
Yep.
Jim?
Yeah.
She submitted the draft,
Okay.
approved it. so.
Because one thing we were talking about, with the number of people that would be in the house, in the arena for the ice show, the sooner they get their advertising up. But then I don't know what it takes to put it up.
Yeah, I think it's just a vinyl.
Not much.
It's like
Okay, well, the
wallpaper,
ball's in their
vinyl
court.
wallpaper.
Vinyl wrap.
Yeah,
Well, we just reminded her that the sooner they get it up, then they get that viewing.
Okay.
So it's the ball's in their court now to get it finished.
be nice to see that concluded. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have to go back, or are you?
Okay.
Okay, good. So we'll do the Public Works monthly report then. Casey? what?
Okay, updates from previous months, we don't have any issues to report back on. So four full-time employees, employee training, We had the ergonomics training also. We had the guy visit and we had the online. And then there's the regular in-house reviews for SOPs from Shelley. Building interior, we had one of the cables on the door break, so we had to have Sarnia Welding door in to fix that for us. Return the cable. Exterior, no issues. Inspections, we had Levitt Safety in for our air detection system. Road, sidewalks, parking lots. Continue to do our bi-weekly road reports and fill any potholes or any signs that are down, anything like that. It's generally just potholes at this time of year because we fill them and then we plow the pothole stuff out and then we fill them again. So it's just an ongoing process right now. Blue Wire Power was in to repair a couple of the streetlights. That's an ongoing issue. I noticed that we're probably gonna have a few more that they need to come in and fix for us. And then just scheduled maintenance for the flashing lights and stuff that's on like a yearly, I'm assuming it's yearly. Public parks and spaces, the sign at Light Street in Christina was replaced with one that he restored, and then he took that one for restoration.
They do look much better, right?
Oh, it looks so good.
I know, you don't realize how.
Compared to Sarnia's sign that they put across from ours at
Yeah.
Michigan and Christina.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they printed it off a dot matrix printer and put it on hardboard, put it up there, right? But, yeah, so inspections, audits, reports, so the air quality system was inspected by Levitt, which is what I said previously. Vehicles, I had the garbage truck in for its annual inspection to meet the CBOR, and I had oil change, like regular maintenance done on it. The Genie lift went in, we had one of the planetary gears on one of the tires was leaking oil. So they had to pick it up to take it. So I had him do the annual inspection and the service on it while it was in at their shop. Ongoing issue with the vibrator motor on the RTD Salter, it failed again on us. So we were replaced under warranty. We were told that it wouldn't be replaced again. So I asked how much it was. They told me about $800. So I found them on Amazon for $120 and I bought 2 of them just in case it happens again. They told me that we weren't supposed to run it all the time. There's nothing in the orange manual that says it shouldn't. It doesn't work unless it is running. So what we're doing now is we're being conscious of running it only when the spinner is running. So far it's worked, but I do have 2 replacements. And I did change that motor with one of the ones I bought off Amazon to test it. And so far we haven't had any issues with it, but we do have a spare. So if we do run into an issue, at least we're not down. I can change that in a half an hour. So motorized equipment, tools, just continue maintenance. We grease the motors quite often just because they're in the salt right now a lot. So they tend to get greased probably every 2 weeks compared to like a monthly or 6 weeks in the summer. Health and safety, no issues. Security, no issues. Capital budget, I provided Tina with a couple of quotes for the 2-way plow for because the one plow is definitely not long for this world. And I got a couple of quotes for downtown, or I got a quote for downtown banners. I'm not sure if that's capital or not, but we got a good, seemed like we got a good quote on that.
I think so.
Yeah. Community feedback, we haven't heard anything, so that's always a good sign. Looking ahead, the Google calendars we have now on the village website for Gray and the Waterfront Park. We do have one booking on there, so Mike and I were able to put it on and it's worked well for us. And I just got another booking yesterday, so we're gonna add that to it. And that seems to be working. It's not super easy to find on the village, but it's there, which is nice, so. Yeah. So,
Is that something maybe we should advertise or
As I was gonna say, we should communicate that out. to-
communicate that it's there and where to find it?
Yeah, we could even have that
Like a
constant
little-
contact or something maybe.
Yeah,
or-
a message
yeah.
to users.
It is, like, if you go on the village website, you can look at the arena schedule. And if you look, like, ours is, it's there, but they couldn't put it on like the meet page, so I forget what, remember they couldn't put it right up with the arenas.
It's on the homepage,
But it's on the lower section or something.
Yeah, it's off to the side. of the
Yeah,
thing.
but it's there. like,
Yeah.
And it's serving the purpose we wanted it to do.
Yeah.
So people-
And it'll be basically user groups will go to, it once they've gone to it, they'll.
Yeah, they'll be able to
They'll know
go,
where it
I
is.
can have this day. So when they do request, they can go, okay, well, I know your Sundays are booked and your Tuesday nights are booked, but can I have Wednesday night?
Yeah.
focus? So,
So they go in and book it themselves.
No,
but then-
no, we don't
Oh,
have
they
that.
tell you.
Yeah, I don't want them to be able to
No,
do that
no,
way.
I get it.
Because now that we have that liability
Yeah.
insurance thing, they need to provide us that. We won't post their, until they've provided us with everything they need to. Like I'll put the Braves guys on there because we know he's gonna come through, but until they
This
come.
is just showing them what they can have, and then they ask you, and then you cement it in.
Yeah, and then if somebody did, like I know for us, like for the arena, if, like for plowing, I can look on there and go, okay, well, I want to get that done by 7 because I got early bookings.
Right,
Instead of having to call Luki every time I want to know, I
right.
can go on there and look. So it's more like that. We don't get that many bookings, but the same with the soccer pitch, right? Like I know last year we had a couple of requests for a football team to be able to use for training or
Yeah.
something. And there you can go, anybody, even if office staff got a call and said, oh, when soccer, at least
Yeah.
they could go on there and go, well, no, we have soccer on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so you wait on.
Just helps everybody, flow of information, right?
Okay.
Yeah, and then closing comments, it says here that end of winter, it's
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah.
I don't really want to pipe you hot chocolate because I don't know if that's true. But yeah, hopefully that's coming to an end so we can start with some of the cleanup and get, there's lots of spring jobs that we're kind of waiting, hoping to get going here. If we want to do a little bit of a remediation on McCray Park.
Yep.
We've got a tool called the Rascal, and I've gone on YouTube and watched a couple of videos, and we watched them together, and I think we can maybe just define the edges of it. We're gonna try a couple things this year. and see if we
Yeah,
can
define
clean it up a
the
little bit.
transition.
Yeah, the transition, and then this, if you use this thing properly, it looks like we can get it a little more level, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But I found a couple of good videos on it, and it's gonna be an interesting tool to try. Like, it hasn't really been utilized that much. It was bought like a decade ago,
Oh, okay.
and we've used it a little bit, but now these videos show a little better of how to use it for what our purpose is. So we're gonna try it anyway. Hopefully, I was hoping to be doing that by now, but
Yeah.
it's still covered in snow.
Good. Any questions? comments?
No, just when you make the comments about the calendar, like, this isn't happening yet, but Sarnia's master plan for Jermaine Park.
Oh, it's
was
beautiful, right?
recommended- Was recommending taking 2 diamonds out,
Yeah,
and now there's a lot of opposition, but my first thought was, if you lose 2 diamonds there, then people are looking.
yeah,
So it's more important to know what we have and where we have it.
for sure.
People be looking, but I mean, that might.
And they have to know, like, we don't charge for it, so we're not
Right.
gonna have, like, Sarnia charges, so they have a standard that we need, like, we will do our best, but I mean, people have to understand they're gonna get what they get.
Yes.
It's free.
Yeah.
Just be happy you get to play and you can book it, so
But it'd be a while before they make the final decision.
that's it,
I
it
guess.
looks nice.
Yeah. that's nice.
Okay, the only thing I know these spring storms come out of nowhere, but I think I got some good feedback from people just on how well the roads were cleared and the timeliness and the rounding of the corners.
Yeah, we
Just the whole-
kind of devised a new plan for that, I'm
Yeah.
glad that's getting noticed. Yeah, we're utilizing our equipment better, I think, now.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the guys did a great job last time, as far as I'm concerned. We had a lot of heavy, wet snow.
Yes,
Yeah.
oh, I know.
So we kind of teamed up on clearing the windrows and the corners quickly.
Yeah.
Because they were a problem.
Yeah.
Normally, they're not as hard,
Yeah,
but you don't want to drive through those at 50 kilometers an hour right now.
exactly.
So yeah, I called the guys in a little early to manage that,
Yeah.
but it worked out really well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
No, the
glad
roads,
you're-
roads were
I'm
great.
glad you're here.
Yeah, yeah, no, and a couple
Yeah.
people commented to me on it. So.
Yeah, good.
So we'll receive and file the monthly report. Thank you. Do you want to stay? Step
Yeah,
back?
they should stay because budget discussion.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. You guys can sit in the back there if you want, or you can stay there. You're close to us, it's up to you. You're good? Okay. Front row seats are usually charge extra for those.
Put it on
So,
my tab.
yeah, next item, Jim, is parking restriction request. I think the memos from you.
So there's just a request, Michigan Ave between St. Clair and Monk Street, to potentially put in there's a couple of options that come to mind right away for parking restrictions. One is a 2-hour parking limit, and then the other is permit parking. One thing I talked about in here is we have Paradigm in doing our active transportation study and their traffic experts. They might be able to take a look at it for us and see what they have any ideas that might work there. So just looking for some direction from council. where you might need to go.
But how many residents then in that block of Plains or
Just
Broadstreet?
got one.
And is there any correspondence related to,
There is, yeah, I've got a letter from the,
okay, can that be shared with the community then? Okay. Okay. So you're looking for direction on,
yeah, just what you would, if you like either one of these two options. We use the 2-hour limit in various areas throughout the village. More in like commercial type settings.
Yeah.
This particular block is kind of a mix of, like it's a residential, it's zone residential. But there's a couple of commercial uses there that draw quite a bit of traffic. So that's why that was a thought. And then the parking restrictions is kind of similar to what's over in the DMI building area, where each resident gets 2 parking passes. And we have those here in the village. We laminate them and put them in their car when they're going to be parked out on the street. Now with either of those, with either the 2-hour restriction or the parking permit, there has to be enforcement goes with those. So that's, that's always a bit of an issue. So
so I think so my suggestion is that we somehow poll the people in that block, either send out an email or a letter asking, saying that the suggestion from our board to change parking restrictions now in their block, and do they have any concerns or issues, and then bring those back to committee. Can we do that in a month?
I think so. Yeah, we can put together a letter pretty quick. And,
You can just say the options are, 2 options presented are 2-hour limit or permit parking only, and then just based on the response to the entire block rather than. Yes.
Sorry, do you think that, or can we find out, would Paradigm charge us to do a ruling or a recommendation?
there would be some, I have no idea how much it would be. I mean, they went through a competitive process to get the work they
Right.
are doing for us. So, I mean,
So,
but there would be a charge.
so maybe it needs, we need the feedback first and then we can decide if we want them to review it.
Okay.
If it was a cost of
Yep.
something, whatever.
Yes, doing a mail, it would be a bit, we probably wouldn't even do a mail, it would probably go door to door.
And then I think in the letter, if we could let them know when the next committee meeting is, and invite anybody that wants to speak to attend the committee, or the committee or council.
It's really,
It's council for up 6 weeks.
yeah. It's kind of one of those issues, it's
Thinking with
kind of in
fire,
the
we
middle.
did committee.
Yeah,
The fires.
yeah.
It would normally come to committee and then, I mean, ultimately. it goes
Then it
to
goes
Yeah,
to
then it
council.
goes council, yeah.
So,
So let's, if anybody wants to speak to it, in favor or against, then come to committee. And that committee means April the 11th.
And I'm on vacation and Greg's gonna cover for me
Um,
the 11th.
Yeah.
we're gonna have somebody else to cover for this meeting. Greg's up here.
Right, so we need, yes, I need coverage for,
Greg will do the other 3.
yes, yeah, okay, I need coverage
Makes
for
sense.
operations, okay.
Maybe Lauren could stay or. Yeah.
Oh, that actually work. We'll ask someone else.
You're not volunteer? Conflict.
Oh, conflict. I'll see if Paul can do it.
Okay. Okay. That work then?
Yep, that's good.
The next item on is Sarnia Urban Forest Management. They're having they're updating their urban forest management plan, and I shared an email that I got from Jim. Did you talk to the person that wrote the email at all, or are we
No.
able to attend, or?
Oh, I think it's an open invitation.
Yeah, I think so
What
too, yeah,
What I
yeah.
saw, yeah.
So who's who would be considered our person? Public
Well, we
works?
don't have anybody trained as an arborist, but I'm probably
Most tree friendly?
So you
usually the guy that holds the saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we want to be,
Sure, yeah.
and it's during a work day, so it wouldn't be a big,
I know Sarnia did a huge program, because
Yeah.
they came to my house and they sent somebody out to did all their Boulevard trees out. I'm like, "Yeah."
so they're having a workshop April 19th at the Pat Stapleton Arena from 1 till 3. So we just thought we might have somebody attend, gather any information, and just make sure that because we're such tight neighbors, make sure we're in sync with whatever they're doing or whatever.
So it's not just a forest then, because I thought, where's our forest? You
No,
talked
it's
about
urban
those
forestry,
it's
so it's
boulevard
Boulevard
trees.
trees.
Okay, that's good.
and
Okay, that's
park
good to know.
trees.
And that's more valuable to us.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
the trees in
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
in an urban setting, right?
Yeah.
How do you
Okay.
maintain a,
I explained
Yeah.
forest, where's our forest?
Well, and so many of those Boulevard trees, right, they try and gear them towards what can handle salt, what can
Yeah.
handle, what can handle, it
Yeah.
doesn't grow too tall. Yeah.
so yeah, so it might be good. Then maybe you can report back at the May what they're doing or saying.
So that's on what day, April 19th?
Yeah, Jim will send you the
I'll send you-
details, yeah.
1 to 3.
All right, the next one we have is the washrooms.
Yes, we've had a couple of comments, and I mean, usually every year, there'll be a few people comment on lack of washrooms down along the waterfront. And of course, the biggest, there's a couple of barriers. One is they're not winterized, and then the second will be the cost of cleaning them for the year.
Cleaning and
Or
heating,
for
like
the-
heating will be high number two.
So that's something that, I mean, we'll have to, that's one of the options that's talked about here. That'll take some work to figure out how to do that and, you know, what, and yeah, they don't need to be a sauna. They just need to be kept above freezing or a bit above freezing.
You know, freezing the metal
With the
toilet.
pipe- And the pipes don't burst.
Right. So, but that part we'll have to look into that. There is an option. They bring in portable washrooms for those months and I asked them about the water freezing, like they have a hand wash station and they use like alcohol-based stuff rather than water, so that solved that issue for me. So anyway, just the basic
Who will
portal
clean those
they
They
do
do,
once a week.
Right.
So
once a week?
211, yeah.
whether it needs it or not.
Yeah, no, it's gonna need.
Just like at home makes sense.
$211 a month for the basic washroom and then $468 for a heated model. And then that includes weekly cleaning and servicing.
They need to
Obviously,
be plugged in, I assume.
The $468 model, I don't know if it's just electricity that it needs or if it needs plumbing. I don't know for sure.
I've seen them with
That
little
much
jackets around. it.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe that's what it is.
So anyway, and then potentially partnering with Laws has a washroom in the area.
Are they opening that? Like, I can't
No.
remember the
Yeah,
last
they
time
opened
Laws
it this-
opened. like, they
It
did
belongs
open
to
this year?
Sarnia and Laws opened it.
They did this year.
And they will not go in on this year because budget's already set. They're spending $13,000 on refurbishing the stalls. And Clint said he did a review. I'd have to ask him again, but something like $100,000 to winterize it.
Yeah, oh yeah. Okay.
So it's not in the budget.
It's one of those things where you'd almost be better off starting over.
Well,
Yes,
this one, it belongs to the city. And what happened when it wasn't open for a year, it was because the pipes burst.
Yeah.
So Laws took it over and took on the cleaning and operation of it for the season. And then they're doing this fixing of the,
Yeah, I know they had the main line
Stalls,
last year. I
right.
think they had to repair the main line too.
yeah, so they took that on as a community, sort of a community thing, but I asked him and I think it's almost $100,000 to winterize it.
Because Sarnia keeps the one by Sandy Lane open year round too, right?
The one, and the farmer,
Animal farm.
the animal farm.
Yeah, so there's that one and there's the one right
Yeah.
at the roundabout by
Yeah.
Sandy Lane, right?
What's open as well?
Yeah.
By the playground?
Where the rotary,
Mhm.
the rotary one is.
Yeah. That one's year round.
So the,
Yeah.
the heated model's a neat option, $3,000 for the winter, that includes all the cleaning. The only problem is heated, you could have somebody move in and
I'm assuming that's plugged in too, and I'm assuming these washrooms would be open 24/7.
they would be, I guess, because otherwise we'd have to go down the lock.
Is it like a trailer model? Like I've seen those before. It's kind of a walk up where there's like four
I don't know that much about them. Like, I just called, what are your options?
These will be the porta johns that are used for COVID.
We did the COVID one. We never locked it up at night. right?
No, no,
So it was open all the time?
but it's hard to lock up.
Yeah,
the-
yeah.
Well, I know the fry truck guy had one last year on the Bluewater Bridge property,
Yeah.
just for his staff, and he was on it.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a padlock thing there.
He's also said he's bringing one in.
He's talking about
For
bringing-
his staff or for everybody?
He didn't have to say, he just asked if he could do it.
From when he opens until when we open ours.
So you're looking for direction. So I think there seems to be a lot of consensus. So that building as it sits now, does it have like open vents at the top? So if we were to
Roof's
try and
completely
heat it,
open, you would have to put a ceiling in, put blown-in insulation in the roof, you'd have to insulate the walls, you would have to heat the building somehow, and it would have to be electric, because there's no gas set up there, unless you're looking to spend money to put gas in it. So electric heat's not cheap.
So the washroom at the splash pad, is it any different?
No, unfortunately, it's
Yeah,
all
I mean, we
concrete
could've-
block wall, and,
That could have been the one.
yeah, well, it really, I mean, like you say, hindsight's 20/20.
Yeah.
but
Well, it's not hindsight, it was talked about.
Was it? I
And
don't remember.
I mean, I don't know that it was costed out. Like, I don't know that it was broken down, but it was talked about it. And the discussion was it would be very expensive,
Yeah.
and the decision was made not. to.
Yeah,
Like ideally there, when we're doing it, pouring the slab before you do the door.
yeah. And it's not the cost so much to have the insulation in the heater. It's every year to be pumping electric heat into a
Yeah, and
shed.
like what are our cleaning costs for the summer, like double that cleaning cost as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Like, I don't know what we pay to have that cleaned, I'm sure there's a line item somewhere.
Yeah.
for cleaning it, But you've got to double that, right?
So we're coming up to budget. Do we want to put her in like council pull out?
We can do like, if we figure on $500 a month for these, for the,
And we close up to it, so November, December, so we put $1,000 in. If you can get more details on the heated model.
yeah, I can get more, I can try and get more
Who's
information.
that
on what it
from?
was. Blue Water Sanitation, or
Lambton?
Central.
Sarnia Sanitation or Central?
Central Sanitation did the one at COVID.
Yeah,
No,
they're the
no,
ones that
was
I
that
know we
Lambton?
use.
That was Lambton,
Who's
Clint,
Clinton? Who does he work for?
Lambton.
Then it was Central.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because he's the guy that lives on.
Yeah.
He was here in the
Arthur.
village, yeah.
Or-
Jimmy called Lambton as well, he's a local guy.
And they did do the COVID one.
Okay, so the direction we're providing is we're gonna pass on winterizing and not even bother to get quotes or prices, because we think it's both prohibitive capital wise, but operating costs would be crippling.
I mean, knowing our financial situation right now, that's
Well,
a
and we're
nice
gonna have to
have.
open and close them daily,
Yeah.
weekends.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
now you're talking like what time do you want to
Yeah,
lock
I
it
don't
up,
think
what
we can
time do you
afford
want to
that.
open
Yeah.
it?
And I think if we do the heated, that they clean, put that into mat tax for $1,000 with that
I think
tax.
that's a compromise.
Yeah, yeah, and then,
And at least we're doing
And
something.
the nice thing about that is the responsibility is the provider.
yes,
So you just want to do it for November, December, though, not?
but budget wise,
Oh, for this year,
yeah, yeah,
I got you.
yeah, no, then we'd worry about it.
And then next
Yeah.
year,
And they'll go underneath the building, like where they went for COVID.
Was
Yeah,
on-
sort of
was
between
on-
the two doors and.
It's on the slab there.
Yeah, and then it kind of protects it from snow. and
Yeah.
everything else, yeah. Great, that's something else, we'll just, if we are doing that, we will have to clear that area for snow.
Yeah, yeah,
That's all.
yeah.
Just- That's something we add to it.
And for information, if you want, I'll go back to Clinton from Laws. Because he already had the work done to look at winterizing, I'll just get it from him just to see it. But I'm sure he's only 100,000.
And you'll.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
And I say, and as long as we're at budget day, we understand that if the thousand so much, we can go to unheated, but I still think this, because unheated, if I have to go bad enough, I'll go in an unheated little.
Sure you will.
But at the same time, it is for the little bit of extra money, it seemed to be, probably be a nicer.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it's
Experience?
electric,
Yes.
like, if it's electric, you have to take into the fact that it's gonna cost you to heat that.
Yeah,
Like,
cost
it's
us.
not just, like, if we've gotta plug it in, I've gotta make sure there's plugs accessible
Yeah.
for it, that can handle the load.
Yeah.
So those two plugs that we have outside, are they gonna be enough to run two?
Yeah.
Heaters, right?
Yeah,
They-
there's-
They draw a lot
And
of
we
power.
were just putting one, right, a unisex one, that's what I'm assuming.
No.
Not just heated seats.
Yeah,
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 keep your option.
for the bidets.
Well, they could just let the product heat it.
So you know, your next washroom outside in the village is the casino.
Okay.
So it's open.
Yeah.
You can use the washroom.
Yeah, if you needed some extra time.
Yeah.
Okay,
So we're not totally cut off.
I mean, and it is one of those things, it is, like, it's not something that people are used to having. in front of you.
Yeah. we did get some good feedback during COVID when we had
Yeah,
one there.
yeah, they
Yeah.
appreciated it.
Okay, so we'll, direction provided, we're good there?
Yep.
Okay, that's good. And then operational budget,
So the budget that we've prepared, I prepared a memo to go with it to explain why we're at the increase we're at. So 1% this year represents approximately $28,000. There's 4 items that I've kind of summarized here. One is $240,000 reserves last year, so to cover that off would be 8.6%. Increase in insurance of 32,600, it's 1.2%. Increase in policing of 43,218, 1.5%. And then an increase in utility costs of 64,000 is 2.3%. And then also we've been running about 68% inflation for the last period of time. So that kind of explains why we're where we're at. We didn't want to bring any reserves into this, at this stage. That's obviously going to have to happen, I think, to get to an acceptable number, but we didn't propose a number. I thought that was kind of a political decision to do. We had a meeting a couple of weeks ago with the kind of the management group and the leadership group. And what we talked about there was finding ways to generate more revenue. And I put a list there of about 11 items. Some of them could be fairly easy to implement. Some are, would require quite a capital outlay in order to generate the revenue. And then, for instance, charging a fee at the splash pad. You'd have to put fencing around it to keep people out. And then you'd have to have some system for collecting money for people to get in, whether it be a toll gate or something like that, or if it was an employee sitting there. So, those things can be looked at, but a few of these items, there are going to be costs in order to generate revenues too. So there'd have to be an analysis done to see if they pay off or not. The one thing that we did do a little bit of analysis on was the arena rates. So raising the prime time rate by $10 an hour would generate approximately $6,100 for 2023. Mike, please. Please. Yeah. And then for a full season, it would raise $10,600. A $5 increase in the non-prime rate would generate $12,500 for the current year, and about $20,800 for an entire season. Generally, in the past, we've raised rates every 2 years. We just raised them in September for this year. Raised them by $10 and $5 respectively. So we haven't even had a summer season hasn't had the $85 fee yet. So, but just as an example, that's about what we would generate. So that's assuming similar usage with increased rates. The other issue that we need to look at is our property standards. We spent approximately $45,000 on property standards last year. There are municipalities that charge some of those fees back. We have in our bylaw that we can charge them back too. It's under what circumstances they can charge back at. So if somebody puts a complaint against your property and we send the property standards officer there and there's nothing wrong with the property, then you should not be paying any fee for that. Same time, I don't think it's fair to charge a fee to the person that files a complaint if they feel it's a legitimate complaint too. So we have to do a little bit of work on what is the appropriate thing to be charging back for. I know Clinton, Wyoming has been touted as a pretty good example of what they do for charging fees back at. So I can look into that a little bit and see if we recover some of that $45,000. And then the other, this list of 11 items, that are on the list, I think could generate some other ideas from other people too, right? So it's, we can look at things as they come up, and council wants to provide any direction to look at any of these specific items or any other ones. That's, we can do that. The mayor brought up a few this morning about tendering the second spot at the waterfront park, and we can do that. Short-term rental fee for short-term vacation rentals.
Like Niagara's reviewing our, like creating a reviewing
Yeah.
potential policy. They charge $500 for a license.
It was interesting at Sarnia Council yesterday, presentation on short-term rentals. And they have 17 licenses issued in the city of Sarnia. If you go apparently on Airbnb, there's 108 for rent.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's,
Do you know what they charge in the city?
I do not know that.
Because I know, like, John from Niagara Planning, he always talked about, you know, he's recommending a minimal fee. Like, we're not, you don't do this to generate revenue, you do it to generate compliant conditions and safe conditions.
And it's, there's impact on your resources for
Yeah.
inspections and
Yeah.
fire service and things like that. That's why it's not a free
Yeah.
service.
So is this provided as information, or do you want us to comment on things that are operations based?
Yeah, if there's things that you would like us to bring back, you know, look into further, or bring back further information, then welcome that direction.
You want to start? Do you want me to-
You know, we already talked about the food service truck, and I think everybody would accept that. That's a good idea.
Yes, I agree.
We could move forward right now and
Yes.
getting a tender ready.
Yep.
And perhaps have somebody in by the summer season.
So number one, I'm all in favor of, and that falls to this committee, so if we can move forward on that, that's the
I
thing.
know Doug did mention about having to reinstall a meter and whatnot there, so it's just something that if we are gonna do ahead, it's something that we should
Yeah,
definitely
Okay.
get him on if we're not gonna move forward with that.
Charge for use of the splash pad, I don't think we can do that. in good. It's good for whoever brought it forward, to think outside the box, but at the same time, I think
It's
it's,
thinking of all the possibilities, but some of them would not be.
Sarnia just made theirs free there at.
Yeah, because of all the feedback they got.
Yeah.
And the same, I feel the same way about water charging to park at the waterfront.
Yep.
Like, holy,
so park rental fees, the only thing with that is, in Sarnia, you pay for the diamonds, so like when some of these two bitch leagues play in Sarnia, they're paying for the diamond, and then they come here, it's free, which is lovely, because they like Point Edward, but at the same time, there is a baseline of you use a diamond, you pay. You know how much they pay there?
I just looked it up. It's for non-life, it's $30 per hour.
But again, we have to have somebody collect that money, send out invoices, somebody's gotta be responsible and accountable
And
for
we
it.
know we had I believe 5 or 6 steady buckets last year, so just. You know what I mean? So I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
you could have a seasonal amount, like, just
Yeah.
support, like lining the diamonds. And future plans, just-
What's that?
Especially for league.
Yeah.
They're there every week, and they're expected it to be dragged.
Yeah, that's, I mean, there's a cost involved in that.
Clean it, you cut grass once, twice a week sometimes.
Yeah, so maybe an annual, so if you wanna join your league
Yeah.
and you wanna make that
The
booking,
league,
a league
Yeah.
fee, and it's, so an occasional user who wants to book it for a.
Yeah, I'm talking about a regular
Yeah.
weekly
like
booking.
the Point Boys or whatever, they use it, the Braves use it, the ladies. Point
Yeah.
Ladies, whatever their league's called.
I don't think it would be unreasonable if each team member had.
So why don't we do some math and figure out what a baseball season is, $30 an hour like Sarnia uses, and then do a flat rate seasonal fee. And then see if we can use that.
And maybe not just to compare to Sarnia, but maybe some of our smaller communities.
Yeah,
what they're
Yeah.
doing.
yeah, because I think also too, like, we have to understand that Sarnia maintains a higher standard because they
Right.
can rent their supply.
And that's
So we need to balance that.
that's the trade-off, right?
Yeah, that they don't, if they're paying, they're not expecting Clearwater type diamonds.
Yeah. right.
Number
Sarnia has-
7?
Sarnia has park staff that do that.
Yeah.
constantly, Right, so when, between games, they'll go, like, between users, they'll go out and drag, right?
Yeah.
Stuff like that, so.
Advertising sponsorship, I think we are missing the wagon there, and I think, so can we not Can we look into hiring like a company to just sell the boards, sell it?
We
We
did,
did.
we had that at one point.
Yeah.
Not really a company, it was.
You hire a
maybe it was
person.
company, it was
Yeah.
a guy that went around and,
You know, commission, right?
yeah.
It's back in house.
Now, I got a phone call a couple days ago from one of the user groups that's interested in, he's a volunteer for this group. And his job is revenue generation for his group, and he's asking about some kind of a partnership with the village where he'd go around and find sponsors. And then they would do a revenue sharing agreement with them, so, and I don't know if that's something that we're interested in
Not
exploring.
anymore.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
you might want to invite him to the
Yeah.
next committee meeting.
I think,
Or we
yeah, I
can do
don't
it at
think
a
it's
staff
a
level.
committee meeting, I think it's a staff
Just
level.
submit what he, like his plans.
That's the gentleman from Pacer.
And if we're paying like a 20% commission, 25, we're still getting 75 cents
Yeah,
of that dollar, right? So, and right now we're getting zero of that dollar, so any new business he brings would be valuable.
I think that's-
Arena naming rights, I thought you'd be waiting till I died to do that, but to name it after me.
Sorry, that
no, we'll
process.
take your money now.
Okay.
Who was his wife's name?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, let's get real. Eh?
It's out there, it's happening, people
Yeah.
do it. I love that ours is the whatever Memorial Arena. Throw somebody else's name on it. It's-
See, we've always, like during my time, for all these years in council and whatnot, we've always stayed away from putting the person's name. Like, we've been challenged to put a name at the waterfront park, and names have come forward, but it's hard to pick one name when there's so many people that have contributed to this village. And then you go, okay, what's McCray Park for? What's that name for? You know what I mean? Like, it meant something in the day, but who knows what it means today? No
I
offense.
was
Gotta go
thinking-
read the
I
rest.
was
But this would be more, of a-
More
Yeah.
important, I was
But this
thinking
would be more of a
corporate,
business,
like,
yeah.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
Like the
We want to
capacity.
power them,
yeah.
Point or Memorial Arena.
Yeah.
or-
Well, I mean, you could throw it out there as a,
but is it something we want to do?
I don't,
Are we that revenue hungry that we're willing to throw the corporation's name on the front of our building?
We're sitting at 19%, right?
Well,
yeah, but it's principle.
yeah, it's as much principle as it
You
is.
do parks as well.
But so we have never done that because we didn't want to select.
We have
So-
spent a lot of money on park signs lately too, so. it'd be hard.
They wanted a particular mayor's name on the waterfront park. Well, what about that mayor? What about that mayor? And when you start honing in on one person, I think it's just, feels hard, feels difficult.
And then you get away of the identity loss to the amount of, if somebody walked in with a $500,000 for
Mhm.
5 years of naming rights,
Okay,
Yeah,
we'd be all over that, right? But I don't think anybody's gonna drop that kind of money for us. You never know. Is Progressive, what do they get for that? Does anybody know?
I have no idea.
don't remember. Is it?
I think it was in the half. Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's think about that.
So when you have the discussion with this gentleman about advertising sponsorship, maybe you could ask about arena naming rights, not that we're going ahead with it, but get some more information and what numbers are potential up there.
If you just did it in interior too, if you said like it's not gonna be on the outside, but then the inside, we're gonna have it.
Yep. Yeah, like
And then,
even-
then you're kind of balancing out that.
Yeah.
You still maintain
Yeah.
your name, but.
So something in the ice, extra rink boards type of
Something
thing.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that they become the lead sponsor. We think that, and right by the lots.
Sort of like we're a power sponsor to Northfield, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
It was Lyuna.
Yeah.
Ice service
Yeah.
is brought to you by
Yeah.
Lyuna.
Yeah,
Yeah,
You
yeah,
could have
That
that
big
painted.
logo inside the blue line.
Yeah.
inside.
Seen them before and that were us corporate, like a little bigger, like Pepsi, Coke comes in and they say, okay, we're gonna give you a score clock too. So we're gonna have our signage on this new score clock.
Yeah.
And then we'll just continue to, like, obviously, if you're carrying Coke products in there already, perfect. Right now, we'll become a bigger supplier for the area.
So based on your meeting with this person, maybe they could,
Yeah, they might have some.
See how far it
like, to create a package of where, yeah, we, yeah, I think something internal, I'd be all over, but I just, yeah, external, I like, you know, the Memorial Arena.
Right.
Paid parking in Waterfront Park. I think they can break, think outside the box, but I think it would be
Well,
well received.
You get a police.
especially when we
Policing.
get accommodation tax money.
Yeah.
I feel like we're charging for things that we should be, we're getting paid in other ways for. it.
Yeah.
That's my own opinion.
The hanging baskets we talked about earlier. Yeah, and then ice time. So,
And then you can add short-term rental licenses.
Yeah.
You got it on your list, okay. And then my idea about the water, I guess I'll just, for the splash pad, was, Tim pointed out was a bad idea to,
Not a bad idea.
no,
just
like
for the
an impact,
unexpected
has a
consequences.
negative impact. If we cut the water, if we cut the usage time till noon, we're impacting the water department's revenue. We take 2 hours off every day, cuts back.
so we stop buying water from them
So-
and then it's like
Well,
Robin
we're impacting our own
Peter to pay Paul, right?
I'd have thought there was, I don't know if it's, but what if we have somebody sponsor that? So Blue Air Power, somebody big sponsors our water cost. And give them a sign on the building.
Mhm.
So if they sponsor the,
Yeah,
our water costs are $36,000. So
So
if you had one or two big sponsors that sponsored the operating cost, let's say, or the water cost,
Yep.
and then they went on the building somewhere or a
Yep.
sign, and it's only one
Even
sign,
in the pavilion, yeah.
right? Because one on the side, right?
Cement itself.
It could even be painted on the cement, yeah,
Potentially,
yeah.
right? Like, I mean, it's gonna be something, it's gonna be a 5-year deal though, so I don't know
Yeah.
how permanent we wanna make it. It's
Yeah.
probably something that we're gonna wanna be able to change if
Yeah.
we need to. But you could have somebody like, or I was thinking even, what about IBW? They're in town.
Yeah.
They might be willing, they've got some serious revenue, those guys.
Yeah.
They might be willing to sponsor that, right?
So can we
Anyway,
throw
just
this
a
all back to
thought.
that other guy, like to say that, or do you want to do something different?
Yeah, well, as long, I think, leave the details
Yeah, to
and
use.
we'll
Work it.
figure things
Um,
out. Just, I think what I'm needing to know today is if council's accepting of these different, because it's a bit of a divergence from what we've done in the past. But not- it's not.
It still has to go in front of everybody.
Yep.
So it'll be budget day anyway.
So at the committee level, we're recommending that we tender a second spot in Waterfront Park.
Mhm.
That we do not charge for use of the splash pad. That we do not, we could get a report back on annual fee for the park, McRae Park,
Mhm.
for leagues. And then report back on advertising and sponsorship opportunities for the arena.
Yeah. And possibly from McRae Park, like one, I don't remember whose idea it was, somebody said, maybe we can have some kind of a package deal
Yes. Yeah.
where you get a spot at the arena, a spot at McRae Park, and a spot at the splash pad.
Or the soccer field.
Well, I don't know about the
So-
splash, I think the splash pad for. Yeah, soccer field maybe, but also if we're replacing the fence, I know that's part of the plan out of Craig.
Yep.
If we are gonna go ahead with this, let's design that fence so that we're able to, whether we've got to add a couple extra posts, so it's easy to hang that advertising.
Well,
I
they
think
do
what we-
that at, out in Sarnia, one by the
Blackwell?
arena, the ballpark. It has advertising on the fence,
Does
doesn't
it?
it?
I think one of the things that we talked about in regards to this was, you know, how you drive through Tim Hortons and there's, you know,
Oh, yeah,
all
yeah.
those, that signage, it's that kind of
Yeah.
that similar idea.
Yeah. But I think it's at the one near at Clearwater
Yeah.
on the fence.
So should we be optimistic and add a line item with some revenue? No?
No, I think work it, and I mean, if we get an extra $10,000, great. Then you have it for next year, but I don't think you want to budget for it this year.
That vendor rental, I think is gonna be your biggest, that other drop.
Yeah.
It'll be one of the best.
It-
If, it like,
Yeah.
who knows what'll happen this year, but I mean, that's gonna be it. Because the other one, what do we get at?
90. So we'll see every counselor this morning.
Yep.
Today. So we already have 3 in favor, so we can move forward with advertising.
We'll work through the process.
Okay.
And then the last one, ice time, Derek, what are your thoughts on that, the 10 and 5?
Looking at other municipalities, we're on the high end on prime time, we're on the low end on non-prime time, but a few years back, we lowered non-prime to attract user groups. And I think we did a good job of doing that. Last one. 75% full.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think any other arenas are that full during the day.
So where was I the other day? And they don't even open till 4.
Sarnia is open for, in Sarnia, they don't open till
Yeah.
till 4 o'clock, so.
That's the other thing you have to be cautious about is what are we gonna lose by having
Especially on the non-prime time.
Drive
And then
somewhere.
on the prime time, the two biggest user groups are youth groups. How's that gonna affect their registration? How's that gonna? I know the minor gets a donation, but
And so Brooke Alvinson, they're like 130 and Whoppers 135 for a prime time.
Now, Brooke Alvinston got a subsequent email that that's plus HST, so
Okay.
that's like Watford's got 2 rates because one with HST, you know what I mean? Like 135 plus HST is 152.
Okay.
So I had already, I don't know, I haven't added in Brooke Alvinston, but they're plus HST as well. So they're gonna be about 147.
And you said in the past, we've raised the rates every second year. So this would be an
Yeah.
exception.
yeah,
Now, I know we did say that we wanted to have smaller increments, so it's not as impactful. I'd be okay with leaving the rates there for the upcoming year.
I would want to see how we do during budget to see if we can break. Because I hate to, as you say, we've done it every other year. I'd like to be able to go to that. But see what happens when we get into budget, how we're able to work things out, if we can avoid.
I think the thing we have to keep in mind is we're talking $12,000 potentially. If rental rates stay the very same, if we lost even one of these non-prime time leagues that play during the day, that 12,000 could be gone.
And the impact on the minor.
Yes, yeah,
and the figure skating club, no, I
All-
already know their costs are way out.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because everything's up. But I guess for the prime time, we're nearest one to compare to would be Sarnia, but I don't think too many people would drive
Yes, out to,
No,
these other places, and I know we're quite a bit lower than Sarnia. But again, our two biggest user groups are here.
and I know a lot of these organizations, the communities, give their youth groups like a 10% or 20% discount,
I think
Over.
Sarnia is 25.
25 and Sarnia.
25.
which brings it down to almost what we're charging for prime time, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, from 263 to 25%.
Yeah, 3, bring them down 279 with the tax.
Yeah.
So $75 off that, so it's gonna bring them down to within about $10 where we are now.
Yeah,
so we can park it. keep it in
yeah. So I think, yeah, our
As an
recommendation
option.
is to leave rates the same, and then we'll review it as part of the budget
If we
process.
need to.
Yeah.
Get that.
Yep, go ahead.
You mentioned something about cancellation fee for ice rentals. Now, I know it's not a problem, but should we have a policy anyways that we can enforce if we do have, like, the people that, could habitually cancel at the last minute?
Well, Derek sort of indicated. he doesn't have
I don't
any.
see an issue.
You don't see an issue? Okay.
No,
Because
I
of users.
honestly don't. I mean, it's usually accident, weather related or
But you said some groups that you were having issue with are cut.
they're not there now.
Yeah.
so
Okay,
They were not paying
Not paying or
and canceling.
Okay.
And so now they're not with
they're
us.
not here.
that's fair.
And we still got good numbers. Yeah.
Okay. I know you wanted to go through,
If you wish, like if there's questions about the different departments, I'm happy to do whatever.
well, let's just run through, so I did, now, in your memo, you say increase in insurance of 32,000, yet I see in here much bigger increases in insurance.
It varies by department,
Yeah,
right? If you look like some of them are 13, some like fire paid
So,
a different rate
yeah.
than works and
So that's like I went through and did like, the numbers we paid last year and the number this year and see it here somewhere.
so it's only a 1.2, because I was going to recommend that we go to tender for insurance again, but it's a 1.2% increase overall.
So it's a 13% increase to the rate of insurance. So we're going from about I believe it was about around 310 to just over 350. That's for everything, including water. But so it's a $32,000 increase or whatever the number was, which means 1.2% on the tax rate.
Right.
So to generate the amount of money it takes to cover the insurance was that,
Right.
right? It's not the insurance rate itself that's going up.
1.2.
It's the tax rate. That's what that was.
So my question is, should we be doing a full review of our insurance on what we're paying for deductibles? Should we be bumping up deductibles to get our rates down? Should we go to, like, I know Sarnia went to tender. at one
Sarnia's
point.
going to tender next year.
Yeah.
Just got a note from Chris Carter. I asked him. They're going in August of 2024, they're tendering again. And then Jim said the topic of insurance came up at the CAA's meeting, clerk's meeting, because everyone in the county is in the same company.
Yeah.
And then everybody's upset for dealing with these increases. We need to look at something.
So can that be brought up at finance and then this afternoon, the insurance, and make it an item on their agenda for today? Of doing, like, I remember Rogers, our deductible was $1 million. We did that because, yeah, a lot of stuff. So whether we need to get our deductibles up to get the rates down, or, often when you're with the same insurance company for a long time, they take you for granted. And when you start shopping around, they sharpen their pencils a little bit. So,
But I just, out of curiosity, I went online and found there's a couple other companies that do municipal insurance. I don't ever remember going to tender, seriously, on insurance. We've had the same insurance company for as long as I can remember. I'm sorry, it has a different one, and I don't know what the details are. I just asked them for the name and he gave it to me. And I think, you're at the meeting, I think others are starting to feel the same way.
Yeah, like there's a lot of discontent. Everybody's like, everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but I think probably 10 or 12 at least are with either with one of two companies.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter which company it is, they're all going up.
Yeah.
13, 15%.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure, like my thinking and what people have talked about is you'll tender it, it's gonna be a lower price per year.
Yep. Oh,
And
yeah.
then,
Yeah, we've lived through that. too.
Yeah.
so, and that's what Sarnia did, right? They tendered last year.
Yeah.
They're tendering again because their price went up 13%.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I don't know if it's exactly 13%,
But I
but their
just-
rate went up drastically.
I'm just worried that, like, maybe we're complacent when we don't, like, delve into it more and.
Yep.
And because I would think that they'd want to come and talk to us at some point. They haven't ever come and done a presentation.
Yep.
See what you can do or
The
how
threat
we
of a
make it.
tender might bring that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
it
that's
does
right.
often, yeah,
I don't
yeah.
feel like they care.
It's like your local TV provider, right? Which you have to call them every year
Yeah.
and say,
Yeah.
yeah, like.
I
I
mean,
like my
Where's
bill
my
is
bill?
going.
I
Yeah.
see them at AMO, but that's it.
Okay, so I think that's a finance and administrative
Yeah.
thing. So this committee would like to see the insurance review because. So why don't we just jump through? So the arena is the first one. Is that the first one that I see that is operational? Operation? Yeah.
Still works, but we can do it whichever.
I was just doing them through the order. Oh, no, I'm going through revenue first.
Oh, okay.
So arena revenue, ice rentals we're predicting an increase. What's driving that? Do we know?
We're short of one last year. We didn't have rentals last
Oh,
year.
Oh, yeah,
Yep.
yeah. COVID,
And the floor rentals are up for much the same reason?
Well, we do have a couple of events confirmed.
Public skating, why is that a revenue?
There has been occasions where if Burns used to sponsor the office, stuff like
Optimal
sponsor.
skating
Okay.
court.
Perfect.
Can we go out for sponsorships on that?
Yeah, that could be added to the list of things, yeah. In-session sales, yeah, that's our annual amount. And then the advertising revenue. So the amount we budget, that's exactly what's committed and contracted and no like forecasting of new stuff. So that's just exactly what we have contract signed for. Okay. So revenues, we're showing an increase of almost 20%. Parks Department, we're showing the Optimist donation again. Splash pad donation, is that somebody anonymous or something, or?
It could be anybody, but normally the accident is.
Oh, they did.
Yes, they did.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
And then summer student revenue, that's our grants.
We're hoping for that.
Okay,
yeah.
you haven't heard yet.
Haven't heard back. Yeah, no.
And that's a grant for up to 4.
Yes. That's my point.
So we've nothing in park rental fees or farmers market. We're
The
covered.
Optimist Bridge Bash is not,
Okay,
that's, would normally go
Yeah.
under that.
and that other one that was there, that was just a temporary thing.
Florida Fest.
Yeah.
What was it called?
Yeah, it was just a one time.
That was a one-time
Yeah.
concert.
Doing their thing in Sarnia.
Okay, and the farmers market, are we letting that slide this year, or?
I've got a few people that are interested in meeting, so in the next little while, I'll be meeting with them. And see if, I don't know if they want to go ahead with it or not. There's a few people that were interested, but as you know, last year we had a lot of trouble with commitment.
Yeah.
We only want to come every second or third week. And, you know, shoppers would want the same people there all the time, so they could know they could go get their meat, their vegetables,
Yeah.
or whatever. So we'll have a meeting and see what people's thoughts are. But
The community hall hydro revenue, is that the Optimist pays for the hydro? Okay.
that's right.
That's why we got the public works. See in the note, you've got 3 full-time. Don't we have 4? And then you've got, 1 for 9 months, 3 full-time, 1 9-month, and half a manager.
I think that's probably a note from last year, actually.
Yeah, that one might get about.
Okay,
I think the numbers look like 4 full-time.
yeah. So the overtime, we're re-budgeting what was last year, but we went over. Are we optimistic? What, do we know what drove up last year's overtime?
I'm not sure why, because it was supposed to go down because of the new on-call policy.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
That's all related to storms. though,
And
right?
events, yeah.
Up to predict overtime.
Yeah.
Like this month's been bad, but February wasn't too. So.
Yeah, but snow plowing doesn't go in that overtime.
Oh, okay,
Snow plowing's down under the county.
okay.
It could be somebody was off.
Well, we do have barrels this week in the winter as well, right? So you've got somebody going down at least once on the
Yeah.
weekend, sometimes twice. Like now Alberts is open, those things.
Yeah.
the insurance, yeah, we're going to do the 15% increase there. Sections. So the mesh and geotab, so when we first bought them, the support was included, and now you're saying it's, or is that an old note as well?
That
Yes, I
was
see.
a note from last year from Emory. So we still put the 3320 because he obviously didn't need any support last year. So I don't want you to reduce it because just because we only spent the 23, that's the base.
Oh, okay.
And if we need support, it's gonna be a little bit more.
Oh, so 2220 just allows us to get support, and then when we call or need it,
We're gonna guess,
okay,
yes.
that's that, so, okay, gotcha. The building yard maintenance is up significantly in actual and budget for this year. Is that, where does that typically put it? 0430.
I don't have printouts in front of me, but just to help these guys out, a lot of it has to do with COVID, remember, where everything was cut.
Right?
So now they're getting back to,
What do you guys know what you charge? You guys probably don't know what you charge to that.
If
So
I
building and yard
were,
maintenance,
I think, I know Imram had to have those sensors put on the doors.
right?
that kind of stuff.
This is all operating now, so.
But yeah, that would be on the overhead doors, right? That would be building and everything.
Was cleaning might have been part of that.
And we now pay to clean it, don't we?
Yeah, like
Yeah,
they
we
used to
moved
charge
them
3
to-
hours and they'd only spend an hour here, we charge them 3 hours, so. But that, I think that would have contemplated 17,000.
And then did say there's some that he had to spend money on last year, and I thought maybe that he had to buy a heater too, maybe.
Yeah, I remember that,
Heater
yeah.
Or something like that, maybe. I'm not a hundred
I
percent.
remember the heater, yeah.
Because there's one at the arena too. Here, I think fix the arena in the garage.
Oh, they would. Lots of things.
And then the sidewalk costs were way up because we did those unbudgeted sidewalk projects, right?
Yeah.
The brushing in trees, I see, we've always budgeted 7. We spent 4. Should we be reducing that to try and, because
That again is danger trees that have to be cut down by Guardian.
Yeah.
Or stumpage, so that number probably should be maintained, especially due to the fact that we're thinking about maybe alleviating some of the ones that are causing our sidewalk
Yeah,
issues. And also, getting into more and more that are gonna need to be taken down, if they're anywhere near a power line. they're not done.
the only reason I'm throwing it out there is we've fined $500,000 and we dropped for something, we got to,
Like I had to have, just so you know, I had to have Christine shoot down this week.
yeah, I saw that. Oh,
Yeah, so that's not gonna be cheap, and that's included in that cost.
Yeah.
Now, we're gonna share part of that with the county, but I had Guardian there for a better part of the day where, how many guys you think were there?
I drove by and saw a lot of guys.
Yeah. So,
So it was our doing because the trees were going on the road.
they were hitting the plow trucks when we drive by.
A couple of the bigger ones, Advanced Climate Care, 3 tube heaters.
Yeah.
Robert Powers, shop office lights, Sarnia welding doors. The water plumbing, hook up washing
Yeah, so-
machine.
Yeah, the washing machine and stuff had, had put in because we changed the folding thing. So we had to have a washing machine put in, we had to purchase a washing machine. Now it has to be brought. So there
Well,
was-
can we drop that to 20K?
I don't think so.
No?
Because then a lot of the Keystone IT work goes there. We don't have a separate.
How are we gonna find 500,000? if we don't- They're taking no 3s and 2s. And
Because
if you
most
want
of
it done
this,
now, or do you want to wait till the 23rd to do some of it?
No, we can take out stuff. What are you looking to do?
Well, this is the building yard maintenance of
Okay.
0430.
Said 23,000.
We
you always
budgeted,
seem to have some type of problem with the overhead doors,
Well, we already have that.
right?
Yeah.
So
I'm saying we've replaced the heater, we've added the washing machine, the doors have been maintained.
maintain for 1
The
year.
doors are maintained every year.
Yeah.
Right? The doors have been on that building since it was built.
Yeah.
So there's gonna come a time where we're gonna have to replace those. Right? Every year, so right now, we've already spent money on that door this year with the cable break. So there's probably $1,000 bill from that. We have to have we're waiting on parts to have one of the sensors changed on it, which is another $600. Because the buttons can't control that. Our exit gate is automatic this year, and I think that's gonna cost us some money. I don't know how much yet, because we're waiting for better weather to have it assessed. But it stays open on us sometimes. So one of the loops is damaged.
No, and I get all that, but we have to find $500,000 in reductions. And
That's just operating, or is that, because
No,
capital
it's
side, we
just
gotta
operating.
find that too.
No, that's just operating, yeah. So, and we're not gonna do it by, I don't want to say, I'll say protecting what might, and if we budget 20 and the doors all fall apart, we'll replace the door. It's not like we're gonna say, well, sorry, you have to keep it open. The doors will get repaired, we'll find the money elsewhere, but, so we have to come in with, we gotta get closer to. So I'm thinking, we can drop that to 20. And then the brushing in trees, you've already spent quite a bit this year already, right?
I haven't got the bill for that yet, but I'm
It's gonna be
assuming
significant.
it's not gonna be cheap.
Then we drop that to 5K. Again, if a tree falls and it's gotta be removed, we're at the 5K, we'll still remove the tree, it's just, we'll find the money either go over budget or elsewhere.
I mean, the brushing and trees is at 7.
Yeah.
You spent
45.
45 last year. You could shave a bit off of there.
Okay, and then I noticed fuel, we're going up 50%. And I know gas was really high last year. It's come back.
For diesel here, most of that is diesel fuel.
Oh, diesel's still way up.
Whereas
And you know, like that diesel fuel, that's everybody's diesel fuel, like not the food
Yeah.
plant, but that's the fire department's diesel fuel, that's ours for snow plowing, that's, you know, that's grass cutting.
So we use more diesel than we do regular gas?
I would say, hard to say there, like, basically the pickup trucks take
Regular.
regular gas.
The lawnmowers.
All the lawnmowers, the plow trucks, the fire trucks, the loaders, all take diesel fuel, so
Oh, where's our diesel?
all of them.
Are they?
Except for the push mower, yeah.
It's electric.
didn't know that.
I did not know that.
Well, the old one is gas and the new one's.
But so we ran through last year with some pretty inflated gas prices at 25,000. Could we not go at 25,000 again? It's still an increase of 5,000 over the year prior.
Like I just had our diesel tank filled. The road diesel, okay, so there's two different types of diesel, one is red and one is clear. The red is because it's not on the road, so you don't pay road tax, so it's a little bit cheaper per liter. So to fill the tank, the road diesel tank, so it's a 500-gallon tank, that costs us almost $3,700 to fill that. for that.
Oh, the other reason that went up is because they moved the parks fuel up to here, just to keep everything under one account. It's nothing under fuel down in parks,
So we'll see a reduction down in parks.
zero
fuel.
there.
Yeah, that'll be.
Okay, never
Because
mind.
it doesn't make sense to have them separate.
Yeah. Okay, snow removal is, there's a note that says Lloyd's for this road sweeping. It's going up 1,000.
So that section is just the expenses we incur, but then
Oh,
we
yeah.
bill the county.
tested some changes on here, but nothing was done. So are
Uh,
you making any?
I think Jim
changes?
made notes, didn't you, Jim?
Yeah. I
Oh,
remember.
okay, sorry. No, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. that. It sounds-
So far, there's just been two.
And the garbage fuel, that's just going up because of the cost of diesel. That we've gone from 9 to 14.
That's
Yeah,
correct.
because we were really under budget. I mean, we were over budget to begin with, and then the diesel gone up, yeah.
Could change that to 12,000.
Do anything you want.
Let's make that 12 for next year. Go. Nice to see the garbage collection contract didn't go up. Blue Box programs flat.
Waste tipping. Talk about that one, they only spent 12.
Oh,
There's a little bit of, I can't speak on it too much, but we did do, we took it a couple of different places last year and kind of consolidated that, so. There's probably a compost cost and a waste cost where they're getting more blended, but I can't.
Well, the compost cost is
No, I
up.
just separated everything.
So the compost cost is up 10,000. That's more compost, or are we taking it somewhere else, or are we, on the next page, there's. We budgeted
The
8,
compost, wasn't it? Half the year was at one place and then,
Remember we got that
Switched over?
bill, that late bill, and then didn't send it to
Yeah.
you?
but so
We now take the compost, we don't take it to Sarnia anymore.
waste.
Take it all to Waste Depot. Waste Depot matched and beat Sarnia's price by a little bit, so we're not over what we used to pay Sarnia.
okay. So was the last year actual due to a billing problem?
No, it's actually
That's the actual cost for that year, for just the calendar year.
half a Sarnia, half a Waste Depot.
Yet we budgeted 8,000 the year prior. or for that year. I'm just curious why it went up $10,000, more than double.
Well, that
When we found a place that does it cheaper.
The bill we got from Sarnia, the late bill that we got was, I can't remember, a lot of money. I've never seen it.
But it was up to August, and then he switched over in August.
Is it because we're taking up all the compost to compost and not to the dump?
It's- We are hauling our street sweepings for them as well. Whereas we used to contract somebody to do that, which still should be cheaper.
But it still should be reflected in the report somewhere, but I don't know, maybe we just, I don't know, we'd have to go back through the year.
You guys just bring it back to budget then, or
Because those are actuals.
what's going on there?
Yeah, we can try and find some explanation.
Yeah. Because it's a big number, right? If it was just a. Then we're down to the arena.
I think what we have to do is look at, that was the budget, we have to look at the year before that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2020. No, yeah, 2021.
we'll try and find some, like, maybe it's just increased tonnage. We'll do some digging. And figure out
Yeah.
why it went up so
Yeah.
much.
Okay, arena wages are fairly flat, overtime's flat, although overtime went way up. What was that related to this year? Do you know?
Tina and I talked about this. There was 2 incidents of COVID in
Oh,
December
yeah.
2021, where 2 employees were off for an extended period of time, but that got, because the first pay period was in January. That was a big one. Cut staff, full-time staff, so any vacation day, sick day,
Right,
blue day is covered, is overtime now. There's no other employees. We've got 2 silver sticks, skating competitions, jamborees, carnival. We're busier now
It's
than
kind
we
of
were
event kind of
previous
period.
COVID,
Yeah.
but less manpower. So it's just coverage for, I know it's between September and December, there's probably 12 vacation days to cover between the 3 guys.
so hydro, we're bumping up $5,000, which is, I guess, cosmic, but I assume if and when we move these hot water over, that should come down, should it not? Because is that one of our bigger users, those hot water tanks?
No, for hydro,
Yeah.
no, we have nothing on hydro for hot water anymore.
Oh, okay.
So it would be, hydro would be the compressors, lights.
Yeah, okay. And then heat, I see that we say Enbridge doubled their rates. Is that commercial doubling? And my residential's gone up, but not double.
Between 2 Januaries.
Yeah, between 2 Januaries. It went
Yeah.
from 18.05 cubic, 18.05 cents per cubic meter at January 22. To January 23, it was 32.38 cents per cubic meter. I think it's probably come down a little bit, but it wasn't quite double, but
But so should we be doubling the budget for that year or the actual, because the actual would have included the new rates, would it not?
It would have, yeah.
I think when we
No, when
budgeted,
we
we were
looked at
using the
it-
18 because we were doing it at the same time. We didn't realize, like in January 2022, the rates were 18 cents a cubic meter.
Right,
By October 22nd, they were 36. And then it came down January 23, it was 32. So I think when we
The
were doing
most of the
budget,
year was at
it
18.
was at 18 when we did the budget.
and still spent $26,000.
Yeah.
But they've come down now, so shouldn't we be budgeting 30,000 instead of 50?
I don't think there, maybe 40, but I wouldn't say 20,000.
But the year okay,
Like
yeah,
you're saying from 36
Right,
down to
yeah, yeah.
32,
yeah, okay.
that's only 4 cents difference.
Yes, we'd have to look at the rates what they are now.
Yeah.
Because we would have been paying that since January.
We change that to 40 and
Sure.
see where we go.
Yeah, well, 10,000.
Mhm.
That's not found yet.
And then insurance, the arena's up 8%. Repair and maintenance. Okay. Oh, and then the last one, the music expense.
Yeah, you want me to come in and put it in my iPhone?
You already made it, sorry.
Yeah. Can we round down to 183 instead of 184? I'll kick in the 14 cents. Concession repairs, I think there was a consensus that we would, so if that doesn't get spent this year, Tina, that goes into a reserve.
It'll be part of the overall surplus.
Okay,
We've established a new reserve. account.
okay, yeah.
$1,000, wasn't that? 2,500.
Community hall insurance also in it. So these are expenses we pay, and then the Optimist Club give us back some money, right?
They give us money for hydro.
4,000.
Yes.
So the building equipment repair is a lot higher than what the actual was. So we're to adjust there.
That's 7090.
Oh, I think at the time,
It's 8,000.
now it's in capital, Jim, what were we not sure if we were gonna be paying some of
The refrigerator repairs, walk-in fridge, and
but now that's part of the capital,
yeah.
so.
So it's at 8,000 and we spent 38. So we could find something there.
Yeah, and what, I mean, I want to put a question mark beside it, because it must be, I want to look and see what happened the year before. Is something missing?
Which one are you, are we still the arena?
Yeah,
No, community
Community
hall.
hall.
Yeah.
Oh, community hall, I'm
it's
sorry.
$8,000 and you spent under 4.
Right, right.
So I don't-
Yeah, we did have the one fridge go down. Is it still not working? Do we know?
I think everything's working now.
The ice machine's working now?
They got a new one.
Okay. Did they buy it or did we?
They
They
did so
did.
far.
Okay,
They requested us to get some money.
okay. In addition to all the ice we bought?
So there's, I mean, there's room to change that number
I agree. I think we could,
Potentially.
potentially.
So I look at,
Yeah.
do you want me to put 4 for now?
or 5?
Five,
Five.
I'd say 5 to be
Yeah, I think so.
safe.
So parks. So janitorial's gone. Is that,
So hold on, so I got the utilities then, so you want to reduce that a little bit, like you did on the,
oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we should, yeah.
maybe put 10?
You have to say 9. So where you, community hall utilities, area.
Okay. I lost it.
Yeah, so just right below. the
Oh,
one you
right there,
said,
yeah,
yep.
okay, yeah, it's got 12,000. Wow,
That's because the average doubled.
Yeah.
So,
so they only spent 65, so there's room there to potentially.
and so the actual for this year, Tina, that's for 2 months, basically.
Yeah, so far.
So they're averaging,
No, I don't even know now,
it says at the top's at March 8th, so I'm assuming.
but that's, they did it, that
Right.
doesn't mean I got all the bills.
Right,
Your February bill might not be paid.
Yeah, I'm thinking, I don't know, Greg,
okay. But if it was, that's $750 a month, let's say that's 8,000. So I think we could safely go to 9 or 10. Mary Ann wants 9.
Well,
Yeah,
you
I
want to
agree.
see some impact here, then that's. I mean, I don't want to be.
Yep. Okay.
on-
And then janitorial for parks, we've zeroed that out. Is there, did we move that somewhere, Tina?
that goes through assistant properties, now it's under part of the waterfront,
Okay.
part
Okay.
maintenance account.
And then summer students are running us about $8,000, $9,000 each, but they're offset by a $5,000 grant. Possible.
Potentially.
So if we were to look at reducing that, we'd say 5,000. No, 3,000.
Well, depending on if you get the grant or not.
Yeah,
When will we know about the grant?
I don't know.
But
I
the
would
rent's already part of the revenue.
Yes.
Okay,
I would think we
Whatever
should know
it
soon,
says.
because I mean, they want them starting around the 1st of May.
Yeah.
So I would think that they would be letting us know fairly soon what.
so maybe we'll know by budget.
Yeah.
Well, that's only another week.
Okay. And
Right
then,
now now.
under parks, I noticed,
Oh, yeah,
I-
yeah.
and I don't only put this in here because I can't say it, but Kubota, Kubota, and equipment repairs. Didn't we just buy a new one? A brand new,
Yeah, bought one last year.
Orange
We have two
tractor?
others.
but we have two others as well.
And we also have two lockers that are assuming are lumped in with bond.
In that repairs, okay.
Those are also. So it says Kubota, but I would assume that is basically the.
Small-
longer part,
small vehicle.
Yeah, that's why he changed it from last, before it was just Kubota and there's a separate line. And when it changed, it put all these books.
And then the splash pad, that's just inflationary and based on last year's use, so yeah.
We had a lot of breakdown in the splash pad last year.
Yeah.
But that's just utility,
Oh.
remember? That would be your hydro and water.
So we've taken the farmer's market line item out. So downtown landscaping is the planters basically?
Mhm.
$40,000 for waterfront maintenance. Is there an option to adjust standard?
Not if it's sprinkler stuff.
Is it, I mean, I'm thinking if it's grass cutting, I don't know what's in there, but,
I don't think that, includes gas, cutting, 'cause
No, it
that's
doesn't.
just staff
okay.
and fuel, right?
And your
That's your.
janitorial.
Janitorial.
So it's everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's your janitorial,
Okay.
that's your,
Isn't that our plants too? Like the
No.
stuff we plant in the flower beds?
no, I don't believe so. It could be, I guess, I've never.
Some of it goes to capital, some goes
Yeah.
to operating.
So that's
Okay,
gonna be
never
your sprinkler maintenance, that's gonna be your splash pad maintenance, like, which was, we had a lot of problems
Yeah.
last year.
That's okay. I was thinking if it was like, say you cut the grass twice a week, maybe we could cut the grass once a week. You know, I was just looking
Yeah,
for
no, it's,
some kind of adjustment.
No, I think the grass cutting would be under
Well, it's
wages.
not-
this is really, that's just time. to-
Yep.
And maintenance, I guess, that's what it is. but-
Okay,
Right, that's all the stuff that's in operations that I can see. Huh? Nothing, not enough.
It's now 18%.
So we helped a little bit.
23,115.
How much?
23,115.
Yeah,
we
did
just
take
saved that?
1%?
That's 1%.
Yeah. almost.
Well, not
Not
quite.
quite.
Almost.
Okay, let's go work with me. We saved 1%.
Yeah. Did you hear Derek's collective sigh release? Tax one was 18%. On that family vacation after all, to petroleum.
Oh, my God.
Okay, so financial statements
Okay.
then.
More numbers.
So review of financial statements, any comments or questions, Mary Ann?
No, I don't
Arena
have.
or Public Works?
No, I didn't have any.
So we'll receive and file those.
So moved.
Our next meeting, just in case anybody wants to tune in again, is Tuesday, April the 11th at 10 a.m. We'll now adjourn. Thank you, everybody.